Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I am Corey from Super Kami Guru 9000, and welcome to Star Wars for 100 Days, the ultimate fan countdown leading up to the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens. We are only 4 days away from the release of the 7th chapter in the greatest sci-fi saga of all time. If there's one thing that most hardcore Star Wars fans can agree on when it comes to the prequel trilogy, it's that Star Wars Episode 3 is the best of the bunch. But is it without its flaws? Find out in my review of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Set 3 years after the end of Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, the Clone Wars have raged on across the galaxy. Anakin Skywalker has become a full-fledged Jedi Knight, and Chancellor Palpatine has been captured by the evil Separatists, General Grievous, and Count Dooku. If you want to learn a little bit more about the events behind this, I would highly recommend checking out Star Wars Clone Wars from 2003, the 2D animated series which was done by Samurai Jack creator Genndy Tartakovsky. It's pretty freaking awesome, and it's the perfect lead-in to this movie. In fact, the opening sequence of this film is without a doubt the best from the entire prequel trilogy. It all opens in this massive space battle going on in the atmosphere of the planet of Coruscant. Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi join the battle in their customized Jedi starfighters, which are looking even closer to the classic TIE fighters of the original trilogy. They bust into General Grievous' ship and start kicking some droid ass, and even come face to face with Count Dooku himself. Anakin is actually the one who actually ends up finishing him off by cutting his hands off and then decapitating him with 2 lightsabers. Anakin wouldn't have done this normally, but Palpatine is finally starting to use the power of the dark side to influence Anakin. This is one of the most important parts about this film, as we finally get to see Anakin fall prey to the dark side. There were already hints to that in Episode 1 and Episode 2, especially Episode 2 when he slaughtered all of those Tusken Raiders. But here is where things start to get really crazy. After a small confrontation with General Grievous, who does make a quick escape, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Chancellor Palpatine make this big crash landing on the planet of Coruscant, and this is when the movie really kicks into high gear. Anakin is reunited with Padme, and this is where he learns that she is pregnant. Anakin at first is a little apprehensive, but becomes happy over the prospect of becoming a father. This happiness, however, is short-lived, as he has this dream, which is a premonition all about Padme dying during childbirth. Anakin will do anything in order to stop this, even if it means becoming a Sith Lord. While all of this is going on, the Clone Wars continue to rage on, with Yoda going to the planet of Kashyyyk, which is the home of the Wookiees. We even get to see a much younger version of Chewbacca hanging out with Yoda. And even Obi-Wan decides to track down General Grievous and even finish him off on the planet of Utapau. Definitely one of the greatest action scenes from the series. However, as it looks like the Republic is getting ready to topple the Separatists, this is when things just go completely downhill. Anakin learns that Chancellor Palpatine is indeed the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, but learns that if he joins him, he will have the power to save Padme. This is where the major conflict comes in, because Mace Windu and his other Jedi decide that Palpatine has had power for too long and they try to remove him from office, and that's when he reveals himself as Darth Sidious and begins to attack the Jedi. Mace Windu and Darth Sidious have this amazing battle where Mace Windu actually overpowers him and looks like he can defeat him. Anakin actually interrupts this battle and decides to inadvertently help out Palpatine by cutting off Mace Windu's hand, and that's when Palpatine reveals his true form, this disfigured dark entity which kills Mace Windu by hitting him with Force lightning and throwing him out a window. This was such an intense sequence, and Darth Sidious here, who's played by Ian McDiarmid, just completely steals the show with his amazing acting. Anakin Skywalker, realizing that there's no way that he can go back to the Jedi Order, decides to join Darth Sidious and becomes his apprentice, Darth Vader. That's when Emperor Palpatine finally institutes Order 66, which is this secret plan where all of the clone troopers have these chips inside of their head, which basically turn on and they begin to kill all of the Jedi. This is the massacre of all of the Jedi, with most of them being killed and only a few of them escaping. And then things just get really dark, where suddenly Darth Vader and an entire legion of clone troopers known as the 501st go into the Jedi Temple and completely demolish it, killing everyone and burning it to the ground. Anakin even goes as far as killing a bunch of young Jedi kids, which of course is completely off screen, but in many ways that makes it even more terrifying. You can see it just playing in your mind how disturbing this could be. Yoda and Obi-Wan return to the Jedi Temple and learn that it was indeed Anakin who did all of this, and this is also where he learns that he's had a secret affair with Padme. This all leads to the ultimate confrontation, where Anakin and Obi-Wan have their epic lightsaber battle on the lava planet of Mustafar. We also have Yoda, who is fighting against Darth Sidious in an epic battle in the Senate, which unfortunately does leave with Yoda being defeated and having to go into exile to the planet of Dagobah. The battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan is just ridiculous. It's one of the craziest battles from the entire series. It's got some amazing choreography, great use of lightsaber battles and force powers, but predictably it ends with Anakin being defeated, with his arms and legs being completely cut off and him being seemingly burned alive. The thing is, Anakin does end up surviving, and he's placed in this brand new life support suit, which is the classic Darth Vader costume. Seeing him breathe for the very first time in theaters was probably one of the most amazing Star Wars moments I've ever seen. Only to be immediately destroyed by the fact that he goes, "No!" The film ends with Padme giving birth to two twins, Luke and Leia, but seemingly dying out of nowhere. It seems like Anakin's prediction has come true. The film ends with Anakin, now as Darth Vader, standing aboard a Star Destroyer with Emperor Palpatine, looking at the Death Star as it is being built. As if a scene of Darth Vader and the Emperor looking at the Death Star isn't Star Wars-y enough for you, the final shot of the film is Leia going to the planet of Alderaan and Luke going to the planet of Tatooine, where he's reunited with his aunt and his uncle as they stare off into the sunset, just like Luke does in Star Wars Episode 4. Frankly, my friends, the ending of this film is just beautiful. The story of Star Wars Episode 3, when compared to Episodes 1 and 2, is leaps and bounds better. Now, I would have liked to have seen the transition from Anakin to Darth Vader go a little more smooth, and I would have loved to have seen him in the suit a lot earlier in the film. That being said, this is a pretty fantastic sci-fi flick. But it is definitely made stronger by its use of characters, and there are some amazing ones in this. First, let's just go ahead and talk about Darth Vader himself, Anakin Skywalker, again played by Hayden Christensen, who does a much better job in this film, and that's because the script is just a little bit better, but there is still some clumsy dialogue from time to time. Mostly scenes that involve him and Padme. By the end of the film, Anakin has officially become Darth Vader, especially the scene where he goes to the planet of Mustafar and starts killing all of the Separatists without any problem whatsoever. He almost seems to be enjoying it, and you can even see the evil showing up in his eyes, as well as the anger when he is finally defeated by Obi-Wan, literally screaming at him, telling him that he hates him with all of his rage. It's really the best part from the film for Anakin Skywalker. But it gets even better when he finally gets that Darth Vader armor on. When you hear James Earl Jones talking, it just sends a chill down your spine. Unfortunately, they do the whole no thing, but that's a discussion for another day. Now, what's really cool is that Obi-Wan is also really awesome in this film. Not only has he definitely become one of the most badass Jedi Knights, but his battle with Anakin at the end of the film is just perfect. Because not only is it action-packed, but when he finally does defeat Anakin, you can just feel the heartbreak from Obi-Wan Kenobi. He literally breaks down in front of him, claiming that he loved him, that he was his brother. To see him go like this is honestly one of the most dramatic scenes from the entire prequel trilogy. Of the three main leads, Padme again is the weakest element. She definitely suffers from having some really bad dialogue, like saying that her heart is broken and how she just doesn't have the will to live anymore, and of course all of her lovey-dovey dialogue with Anakin at the beginning of the film is really hard to watch. We also have a lot of crazy villains in this movie. Let's go ahead and talk about them. First, Count Dooku. He's barely in the movie at all. He's in like the first 5 minutes, and he gets killed immediately by Anakin Skywalker. This is a big disappointment. I really wanted to see Count Dooku do just a little bit more, but he does have a really cool lightsaber battle, and it is interesting to see a lightsaber battle that early on in a Star Wars film. This one definitely has the most lightsaber battles. General Grievous is also another brand new character for this movie, and he just looks really cool. You gotta love this character. I think the biggest thing about General Grievous is that basically he's foreshadowing for Darth Vader. He's basically what Darth Vader is going to become, a weird being that can't live with his normal body anymore and has to be kept alive by a weird robot form. He's just a more darker version of that. I really wish they could have done just a little bit more with General Grievous and his lightsaber battles, because the dude's got 4 arms. He can wield 4 lightsabers at once, but Obi-Wan just makes him look like a punk. Hell, Obi-Wan doesn't even finish him off with a lightsaber. He actually ends up shooting him with a blaster a couple of times. Although I have to admit, I do love the line where Obi-Wan says using a blaster is very uncivilized. A very nice callback to his original line in Star Wars Episode 4. The real star of this movie, though, in my personal opinion, is Darth Sidious, played by Ian McDiarmid, who just chews the scenery in every single scene that he is in. You can tell that this guy is having a really fun time actually playing this character, especially when he reveals his evil nature to Mace Windu and Anakin Skywalker. He just really jumps back into that evil role and just immediately evokes the memories of the classic Emperor scenes from Return of the Jedi. Not only that, but he also happens to have an amazing battle against Yoda in this film, which starts out as a traditional lightsaber battle, but then brings them into the Senate, where they literally start picking up parts of the Senate with the power of the Force, throwing them into each other. It's the ultimate battle between good and evil, and it's going on at the same time as Anakin and Obi-Wan, so you're just entranced by all of the epicness which is going on screen. I'd say the best thing about Star Wars Episode 3 is that it's a really nice film to look at. All of the settings are just absolutely beautiful. In particular, I think my favorite planet which is featured in this film is probably the planet of Utapau, which is kind of boring looking at first. It's basically this rocky planet which have these like giant craters and crags that people live in, but there's also this giant lizard creature that Obi-Wan is actually riding on throughout the course of the film, and the look of that creature and the way that it moves around the planet, climbing and running up the walls, is just so incredibly awesome. The clone troopers are also really great in this movie because they look even more like the traditional stormtroopers because their armor has been upgraded, just letting us know that it's only a matter of time before the Empire is going to exist and we're going to see some traditional stormtroopers. They come in a number of different varieties and colors with different weapons. We even get to see some classic characters in this movie like frickin' Chewbacca. Yeah, Chewbacca is actually in this film, and he doesn't really get to do anything aside from just stand around and hang out with Yoda, but I'm not gonna complain. Chewbacca's awesome. At the end of the day, this is, without a doubt, the best of the Star Wars prequel films. It has the most focus, it's got the best action scenes, the best mythos behind it, the best drama. It's also making use of the best characters from the film. This is just a really fun sci-fi movie to watch. Now, is it perfect? No. Some of the dialogue is still pretty bad and very similar to what we saw in Star Wars Episode 1 and Episode 2. It's just downplayed a little bit more. This one really feels really dark, like something really bad is going to happen. It's all building up to a massive event where things just go completely wrong. This is an interesting movie because the bad guys win. It really does live up to the title of Revenge of the Sith, which is the complete antithesis of Return of the Jedi. The middle point, the end. They go together perfectly. And this movie right here should definitely be seen by any Star Wars fan. The best part of this movie for me personally is the last couple of minutes. Getting to see Anakin become Darth Vader, join the Empire, and Luke and Leia going to their respective planets. These scenes perfectly encapsulate the feeling of the classic Star Wars films. I love them, and this is definitely my favorite prequel film. It's my 4th favorite Star Wars movie, and it's honestly one of the few that I can actually rewatch without actually pissing on it the entire time. So, Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith is great, and you should definitely check it out before you watch the original films in Star Wars The Force Awakens. So there it is, my friends, that's my review of Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. I have finally reviewed all of the prequel Star Wars movies, and now we can finally move on to the original trilogy, which I cannot wait to talk about. But I would love to hear from you guys. Are you fans of Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith? Did you like this movie? Did you hate this movie? Did you have a favorite character or action scene, or just a favorite scene from the movie in general? And make sure to tell me what you want to see from Star Wars The Force Awakens. Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.